But instead, he put them front and center of this campaign again. And look, Donald Trump, let's be clear, did not have a great night. He lied throughout. But that was all overshadowed by Biden's halting performance. So what does he need to do now, President Biden, to try to keep Democrats in line, to kind of tamp down the calls for him to step aside, to try to reassure voters? This is a very, very important week ahead for him. What are your thoughts?
So many things to say. To your point, the reason that the Biden campaign wanted to have a debate this early was because they are the competitive race for this debate, but no one thinks they're winning right now. It's a margin of error race where they've had small but consistent deficits in the battleground states. They wanted to go into this debate, and they know in their polling and everything else that the questions about the president's age and fitness are in the foremost, not on the minds of Mika or Rev or other people, but of this very small sliver of people who are still out there who are persuadable voters who are going to decide the election. Democratic partisans are going to be with Joe Biden. People who are anti-Trump and not even Democratic partisans, but just think that anyone that Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's would be better than Donald Trump, they're going to vote for him too. There's still a bunch of people out there, this kind of 6% maybe in these 6 or 7 states, who have seen all of Donald Trump's mendacity, have seen Joe Biden's performance, and are still undecided. Those are the people. That's the ball game, right? They wanted to go to this debate and put, to your point, Jonathan, they want to put to rest the notion of Biden's age and fitness. And as you said, they did exactly the opposite. And in the structural sense, every unpopular incumbent, and that's what Joe Biden is. He's a guy with a 38% approval rating. He's an unpopular incumbent. You have to try to make the race into a choice, not a referendum. And what happened was that Joe Biden put the spotlight on himself, his performance. That's just the reality going forward. He's going to be under the microscope now on this question for as long as he stays in the race, whether that's all the way to November or sometimes shy of that. That is a fundamental strategic failure of that debate. That's the cost of this, right? They didn't get to litigate all the things of all the lies of Trump, all the things he did. Joe Biden wasn't able to do that night successfully, and the race is now, even more than before, a referendum on Joe Biden and these questions of how he's going to proceed going forward. I got to defend, just not because I have any dog in the fight with the New York Times, just the thing about the editorial page. I mean, the idea that the New York Times editorial page and others have not been outspoken in attacking Donald Trump for years is, I mean, Mika, just to your point, it's not like anybody thinks that the problem here is that the Times editorial board has not attacked Donald Trump enough. They should take a look at the record. I think they've done plenty of that. I think that the Times editorial board also, I think, is focused on beating Donald Trump, and the concern that they have, along with in private, for now, a ton of donors and a ton of Democratic elected officials who say very different things in private than they do in public, which is they're worried that Joe Biden can't beat Donald Trump. This is not personal. This is not like they don't think Joe Biden's been a great president. They think not that he's been a successful president. They're worried now that maybe he doesn't have what it takes to fight this race in the fall. And I'm not advocating this position, but it's what the weekend was electeds, lobbyists, donors, importantly, because they're going to fund this campaign if it goes forward, saying, does our guy, who we've loved and who we would love to see win, does he have what it takes to win? And does he have what it takes to govern for 4 years, all the way to the age of 86, which is what the president's asking for, is another term that will give him 4 more years in office, where whatever degree of slippage that he has suffered is going to not get better. He's going to age further. So there are people who are on Joe Biden's side who are worried about this, and that's the thing that the campaign is trying to manage now, is how to reassure people who are not fundamentally hostile to Joe Biden or inimical to his interests, but are just concerned about the stakes in the election that the Biden campaign talks about all the time, these existential stakes. That's really what's going on here. It's why this discussion is so difficult.
Yeah, there's no